What is up, everybody? It is Tayluh, baby. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel, depending on when you found this video. And today we're doing something a little different. I'm going to be showing you how I make my Pussy Fairy soap, inspired by Jhene Aiko, obviously. So we're going to start with around 9 ounces of soap base. This is the Brambleberry shaving soap base, so it lathers a little bit better. I'm cutting it in half because I am going to have 2 colors and making a swirl soap. So as you see, the bases are just about half and half. I'm going to use my crinkle cutter to get them sliced up into smaller chunks. That way when we microwave them, it melts a little bit better. So I'm just cutting them into smaller pieces. I really like the way they look with the crinkle cutter. It's nothing more than just a personal preference to me, whether you use a straight edge or a crinkle cut. But that is going to be 1/2 of the base. Just getting it into a microwave container. I actually did get these from Dollar Tree. They're obviously $1 each, and they do come with lids to pour in, so I think that's really convenient. As you see, I went ahead and got both halves cut up. I'm going to be using the blush color block from Brambleberry. It's like a rose gold color. I really like it. I use the same colors for the Pussy Fairy soap each time, and that is the Caribbean blue color block from Brambleberry and the blush color block. So I'm just going to be cutting slivers off of this. The blue is obviously a deeper, richer color, so for that reason I'm just going to use a small little sliver. You can see it's not that big of a piece, but it will go a long way. Now with the blush color block, it is a little bit of a lighter color. So as you see, I definitely use probably about double the amount of pink you see. You can see that's about twice as big as the sliver. I'm gonna pop them into the microwave for 30 seconds. This is after 30 seconds. They're not quite melted all the way. So I did pop them in for another 30 seconds and they were perfect. So I'm just getting the color block slivers melted into the bases. I love watching them swirl around and watch the colors come together. I think that is just so cool. Look at that. It's amazing. So this is the blush, getting that blended in. And again, like, just look at the way the colors swirl. It's just crazy to me how it becomes so satiny with just a little chunk of color from those Brambleberry color blocks. So I'm checking the temperature on these bases. They're in around 150, 155 range, which is a little too hot for me to pour into my molds right now. Being that I'm trying to swirl them, they would kind of just run together, but this is a good temperature for me to start adding my fragrances. So this is Hello Lovely Essential Oil in Sweet Orange. I do believe I either got it from Michael's or Joann's, but the rest of these scents are from Brambleberry. The label's kind of rubbed off, so I did relabel them. We've got Peach Prosecco, Spiced Red Tea, Grapefruit Lily, which I'm almost out of. And I'm going to start with about 2 milliliters of the orange essential oil in each half of the base. The orange is kind of a faint undertone, so I did use more than the other scents. I'm just making sure that I blend all these oils fully into the soap. That way they're completely dispersed into the soap base and doesn't cause any pockets on my silicone molds. So this is the Grapefruit Lily, putting 1/2 ml in each base because we're making a blend of different scents. We don't want one thing to be too overpowering. So we have 1/2 ml in each base of the Grapefruit Lily. We've got 2 ml of the orange, and now we're going for the Spiced Red Tea. Now the Spiced Red Tea is a pretty strong scent. It's got patchouli and other smoky scents. So for that reason, I'm only adding it to the blue base. That way when we blend the pink and the blue soaps together in the molds, the spiced red tea won't be too prominent. It'll just be a nice smoky patchouli undertone amongst all these nice sweet smells. So I did add about 1 ml of that spiced red tea into my blue base, and then we mix it. Now I've got my Peach Prosecco, which I will be adding to both bases. So I just add about 1 ml. That's maybe 1.5 ml. And you see I split that up. blend it, and at this point my temperature is looking good. It's around 138. So it's going to be a better temperature now to blend together in the molds. They'll be able to come together without turning into purple. They won't just bleed together because they're just cool enough. Now, while I was blending, I noticed that it smelled a little bit too much like the spiced tea. So I added a little bit of ginger ale into each bases just to get it back to that sweet side. Ginger ale is one of my favorite soap scents to use. It is by Brambleberry, and I'll be sure to link everything in the description box below, including the mold I used. Most of the scents, like I said, is Brambleberry. This mix and serve container is Dollar Tree for $1. I'm just adding my lids on so that's a little easier to pour, and then we'll get started into pouring it into the molds. So here I'm just using some rubbing alcohol. I believe I have a mix of like 70, 90 in there. I have got a few bottles. But you just want to spray the molds first with alcohol so that there's no pockets of air when you go to pour. And so I just got each color and I'm going to take turns pouring in. I apologize, the camera is out of focus. But you get the general idea. You just want to take turns pouring and making your own kind of swirl. You see I kind of try to swirl it as you pour, make them marry together in this nice way. And then you want to spray the top with alcohol to break up the bubbles, and look at the way those colors just blend together. I love watching it come together. It's like magic to me. So for this bar, you notice I switched up, I reversed it. So the blue is going to be on the left and the pink is on the right, just to add a little bit of contrast to the bars themselves once you see them all together. At this point, I'm noticing I have a little bit of excess soap. So I go to pour it into the other mold, but it had already started to cool. So you notice as I pour it in, there's going to be a little bit of a film on top there, right there. You see it breaks the skin a little bit. So I go ahead and take the chopstick that I have and just kind of swirl that back together. Make sure you spray to keep the bubbles out. Spray, 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 spray. And I decided to use my excess soap and just put it into this love mold. So at this point, I'm just kind of pouring out my excess soap. This one is going to end up either being a sample or a bonus soap, or maybe I'll just use it as a personal. But you see the soap is a lot thicker now. It's coming out more gelatinous. So that happens when it cools. I did have my fan on at this point, so it was cooling the bases a little faster than I was working with them, which is fine because, like I said, this is just the excess soap. So you want to give everything a spritz. You see I went back in and tried to mix that up, but it was a little too solidified, so I just went ahead and left it alone. These are a few pictures that I took of them as they are cooling. These are maybe 5 minutes after pouring it. This is 1 hour, about an hour and a half after pouring in the molds. I did make them smaller so they did set and dry a little faster, but this is how they look. Sometimes I'll add white into the base. Sometimes I have this white gold mica and I'll mix it into the pink, and that adds a little bit more depth with a reflective gold. But these I just made my simple pink and blue like always. I love the way that blue, I just love that blue. I love the way they blend together. Like I said, if you do pour them a little hotter at maybe around 150, they will kind of bleed together and you will have specks of purple in there too, which I like when that happens. But I also do like the contrast of pink and blue. Here is my little scrap soap, which, like I said, it turned out really cute. It's just not enough for a full bar, so I wouldn't be selling that for full price. I may give it away, I may keep it, I may offer it as a sample, but I do love the way it turned out. The back is a little rough. It's got some texture on the surface, but I love the way it turned out. And these are the completed soaps. I'm gonna get them shrink wrapped and put in my soap tote, and they'll be ready to go. I Really like the way they turned out. They smell amazing. It's sweet, citrusy, fruity, with just that undertone of the spiced red tea, which just makes it feel like smoky and like you've gone to a psychic and you got your future. So thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe, and keep a lookout for the next one. Bye.